Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today you might notice that bubbles are back. I'm so excited to have the bubbles back. So today I'm going to be showing you how you can create this crashing wave step by step in acrylic. I'm going to explain every part of the process, every acrylic technique, everything you need to know so that it's the easiest it can be, that it's beginner friendly. So I'm pretty pumped about today's lesson. On the mic to help me do this mayhem is my husband, John.
Hey, guys.
He makes sure that you guys can see these techniques I'm talking about by zooming in with one of our 4 or 5, I don't know how many cameras we have anymore, a bunch of them, and they all have zoomy robotic powers. To celebrate things, we've got Texas snowflakes back, so that's pretty joyful. I am thrilled that this is another 8x8 lesson because that keeps all that energy that we built up during Acrylic April going, and we're going to be using that same basic palette. So when you see the square canvases, expect the same palette and a lot of the similar techniques, though I am gridding in real time today.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, but of course there's a traceable. If you check that description below, you're going to see a bunch of stuff. You're going to see links to the website. On the website is where the traceable and grid is, where there's some extra video information that you might need, more, product information, color information, just the many things that I like to make sure that you guys have as students. There's also about 1,000 other lessons in case you would like some of those too, that are just there waiting for you. Just search a keyword on the website and it'll pull up all the little options that I have. It's easier to find something I haven't painted than what I have. Manatee. I haven't painted a manatee. All right, so I'm going to get into the painting. You guys ready?
All right.
Okay. So here I have my 8x8 canvas, and I've got some wishes on this. We like to do this. We haven't really done this as like we usually do because we've been doing Acrylic April, and there's just been, well, let's be honest, a lot in all of our lives going on. So based on wishes in the community, I went into our wish file in the Facebook group and I found these. There's a general wish for people who've had any major life events postponed. Weddings, funerals, divorces, house closing. A lot of people had their lives completely stopped and stalled in the middle of COVID. And so there's just a wish that when we get back to normal, that all those things that you were working on, that they come back into your life in the way that you had originally hoped that they would be. There was a wonderful wish for kids who are missing their schools and their school friends, that they're doing well at home. Erin specifically wished for a little brush in her life who's dealing with depression to be okay. And then also for kids and parents to be able to recognize that and to be there for each other. And parents, if you can take a minute and look for those signs, that's a really good idea. I've done it for my own kids. And way before it becomes serious, it's just good to know how to be able to help your kids handle sadness. Because let's admit it, life is long. Things will happen, and having a tool set for being sad is super important. Janine wishes to have a great, amazing, glitterific, perfect test results that come out where she gets the best news possible. Margie is wishing for healing for her daughter's eyes and lots of support because she's taking care of little ones herself. There was a great bunch of wishes for nurses and first responders and medical professionals. And then Angela Bassett is wishing for some positive healing vibes around her knees. Those are the wishes on the canvas today. Are you guys ready to paint the painting?
Totally ready.
Let's start this with a solid color. And I'm going to put out my phthalo blue, phthalo with the cane blue for long, phthalo for short. And then I'm going to put out a little of my phthalo with the cane green, phthalo green for short. And I'm just going to mix those together and paint my entire background with that color. This is just a nice basis for this wonderful oceanic painting. We're really going to get into these wave details and reflection details and just spend a minute with this until we're super happy and we like our results. I am going off here. You know, at the beginning of this, John, Betty Ellis was asking while I'm painting in this background. You can see I'm just taking a big wide brush and getting it wet, and I'm just going to take the paint the whole surface. I have too much water on my brush.
Why
See
is that doing that? Come on, zoom in.
I don't know. I got a new canvas here from a new place. New canvas, new place.
That I've never seen that.
Should I out them?
Well,
you wanna...
well, I mean...
Excuse me a second. I'm going to go get a not junky canvas.
So typically we
Your wishes are still good. Don't worry. Why don't you take a tour around this? Have any of you ever seen this? These are live classes. This is a thing that could happen to anybody.
We did not. I mean, like this.
I didn't test this pack before we got it. I just ordered it because I couldn't get to the place I normally go.
We ordered this pack off of Amazon. We would have talked about it today, except that wow,
it's
this
bad.
was brand new out of the package.
Like we just popped it.
That's cool.
So this is wrong. If your canvas does this, this is a manufacturer error. This isn't an error in the student. This is an error in how the product was made. And a lot of times when things are cheap or economy, they can be great because there are people who make quality products for a budget amount of money. But there are also people that make budget products that are budget. So let's put this aside and see if this is any better.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. We won't out this company because that's some junk, and I don't want to be just mean out of the blue, but if you come by the group live tonight at 5 p.m. when I'm teaching the watercolor basics, that's on Facebook, the Art Sherpa Official, I'll tell you who that was.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit more about that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, let's try again. Let's hope that this one goes a little bit better. Oh, wait.
That's
completely
what you
different.
would
I feel like
expect.
going back and comparing. Same brush, same water.
Well,
Same everything.
Look, we didn't manufacture the product and put it in the package or
It's
sell
not
it.
our fault.
No. So, I mean, if you want to demonstrate if you want to pull it out, I mean,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I know we're supposed to be teaching a wave, but this is just upsetting. I would be so mad.
So
I would be so mad.
that's not at all what it should be. Those are your differences.
That's the difference. Just same paint, same brush, same
paint,
artist.
Yeah. That's side by side. So know that your materials make a difference.
By the way, they're both economy canvases.
Yes.
This one is Artist Loft.
Yes.
I'm not getting paid by Michaels, like at all. But it just is.
Yeah.
It's my cheap one. Can I say who this is?
I don't care. We didn't.
You don't? This is Arteza. I was out of stuff, and they were the only place that had anything in stock online. So you don't have to come by the Facebook group live unless you want to learn how to do watercolor. I just don't want people are going to be asking me for years to come. Who was it?
I just realized once this was out, there's no point in trying to.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so I can't even give that to the kids.
Yeah, no, a lot of folks asked if we use this manufacturer's product on the show, and this is the reason why we don't, is because we typically run into this problem.
This is why they've not been on my show.
Is that when we do use the product, it kinds of...
But I didn't expect this.
No, I literally
think there's a way to fix it. I believe that there's a coating. Let's see. There. So,
see, it's still beating off.
Wow. Second coat. And it's still, because usually if you wash them or get them wet, they'll start to take paint once the coating breaks down.
You can see the coating pulling away.
This is not the video I meant to make. Well, I guess this is what canvases suck video.
This was, I get to play with my cameras live and show off like what paint should not do.
Jeez, I'm mad.
All right, well.
All right.
Surprise.
Well, at least I can clip this video out when I return it and go, like my money back.
So.
Gosh, I'm going to have to get some other canvases.
Okay.
Boy, that's a problem. All right, so again, the one that didn't give me any grief is Artist Loft. I'm going to dry that so I can grit it.
Okay.
But real quick, I'm going to answer Betty Ellis's question. How do you credit the artwork? So if you go to sell this in a public setting, you can just put a little card or just some notation on the sale of it. You don't have to even write it on the canvas, just to say that it was inspired by Cinnamon Cooney, the Art Sherpa. Mm-hmm. And just remember not to make mechanical prints or reproductions without lessons from us. That's the whole thing. It's very simple. All right. Yeah. I'm going to dry it.
So what I will say is that, so this, there's some folks, you guys may or may not have the same experience here with these. They're going to go very batch to batch, I'm sure. But, there's a lot, you guys, some folks asking, how can you fix this? And while there may be ways to fix it, you shouldn't have to. That's the thing, is that your product should come from the store ready to work. So
I'm going to paint the sides. I got to calm down. What it is now I'm hopping mad.
Kim is giving you some art loving in the form of a dancing lemon sticker.
Thank you, Kim. I need that dancing lemon sticker. I gotta go buy new canvases. A whole new package of them. And I don't even know how to dispose of these properly.
We'll figure. I got an idea.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
I'd be worried to burn them just in case whatever chemicals on them killed me. Okay. So I don't know that that's true. These are just worries that I have. I also have it about my hair dyes, so don't think I'm picking on anybody. I just worry in general, like, is there something on this orange I don't know about? I'm that person. I'm going to try this again.
Okay. So, while she's drying that, I'm going to say, yeah, just in general, if you're having trouble with your product, you should be able to bring it back to your manufacturer. I'm sure Cinnamon will be able to do something with these. We'll return them or something. But, yeah. Don't, that's a good example. The reason why we took the time to show you this is that this is not how your product should be reacting. Even your budget product, because as you can see, there are quality budget products out there. So keep that in mind. Also, don't use heat because budget products are more heat sensitive. So that's a good way to make sure that they...
Tell you what, if I had ever been tempted to take that money, that cleared that right up. Cleared it right up. I will never do that to y'all.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever, ever do that. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. And the thing is that as an influencer, right? If you practice with the product, like before you film, you could say, take that over to a sink and rinse off whatever that coating is and soak the canvas out till it will take paint and kind of hide that from people and still collect those sponsorship dollars. So just realize that,
Yeah. it's a... Yeah. Complicated. There she goes. So see, clearly Cinnamon has some feelings about this stuff, and that's one of the big reasons why we take so much time to do as much research as we possibly can on our partners. We really want to make sure that we're working and recommending folks that will help you with making sure you have a good experience with your art products. So,
Victoria C said something interesting. Their canvas boards have been good. I'm wondering if it was a lot number.
That's what I was saying.
Could be.
You could be having different experiences at home. So.
Well, no, I mean, because honestly, frankly, I have had paint companies where I'll buy a tube of paint and it was great. I buy the next tube of paint and it's curdled.
Yep.
So these are manufactured. There isn't a lot of oversight for it. There isn't really a way. This was recently purchased off of Amazon.
Yep.
That's what I can tell you. I'm going to make a grid mark every 2 inches. I felt like on this particular one, we didn't need to do a 1-inch grid because a wave shape is sort of simple. I'm using my little chalk. I'm using my T-square here and my Dritz chalk. Ooh, that was upsetting. I got a little heatedly mad.
Now, there were some
I
questions.
don't like to be messed up on my show like that.
There were some questions about this. Now, when you were away, I said that you shouldn't have to. Yeah, but if you did need to or want to fix it because it was what you had, could you gesso it? Could you sand it?
I would take it out and I would take it to my sink and just give it a quick rinse and let the canvases dry to the side and then see if it would take the paint. That used to be a problem in a whole bunch of cheap canvases. Like everybody's cheap canvas did that, and it was about a coating to prevent mold. And then all of a sudden they all stopped using that coating, probably because of that. And it's when things are shipped overseas, they can get a lot of moisture and mold going in the containers, canvases being particularly susceptible. So I think that's how that practice started. You can buy from reputable dealers, local dealers, or you can buy from retailers that will replace product that doesn't work for you. Oh man, that was rough. Mad. Okay, now I'm gonna find my center. Promise. I'm going to teach you how to paint this wave. I'm
You'll-
just a little thrown now.
All right. Well,
Does that ever throw you guys when you just have something go stunningly wrong in your art supplies?
yeah. So this is the time when you learn to breathe.
Yeah, I'm breathing.
Are you?
Like, kind of. I'm going to measure from the top to the 5.5 inch mark and make a little line in. That's going to be my horizon line. This is that one line that you want to keep kind of straight so that it does look like water, especially against the curve of that wave. So that might be another place you want to use your T-square. Now this is a nice little chalk. You could use kids chalk. You could use, this is like a pastel chalk, you know, where you're just going to want to be sketching what you see in each square. So if you see something in the square, right, all you're going to do is duplicate what you see there and transcribe that in. Right, so if I'm like, oh, right here is where my sunlight is. And then maybe this kind of comes here and yeah, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, is that in the right place? But then it is. So see, these grids are really helpful in helping you see what you need to have going in your art. Another thing you might want to do, besides giving yourself some reminders of where is this lip crashing over, right? What's happening there? Where does that start? You can also use this to make sure that your curves, right? Like if you want to see where your curves are, how do your curves work when you're trying to demonstrate the wave? And then you can come in, if you have trouble with clouds, I would highly recommend go ahead and draw those little clouds out now. So you get a great, fantastic, maybe even better than reality shape in your clouds. That's kind of a fun side effect of using this gridding method, is that you can be like, you know what, yo, I want better than that clouds. Okay, sip my coffee, reclaim my mental state.
There we go.
Goodness gracious. All right, so I'm going to put out some more colors. I'm going to put out some cad yellow.
Yeah.
Right. Put out my cad yellow. And next to it, I'll go ahead and add some of my cadmium red. Wonderful color. I'm going to replace some phthalo green down here. Look at this mess I got on my hands. Phthalo blue and phthalo green down there, because I'll continue to use these colors around the canvas. I'm not probably going to use black if I can avoid it. I may use purple for my deepest values, my Doc's purple. And I don't know that I'll use my burnt sienna. I'll keep it aside just in case I'm going to. But I will put out my quinacridone fuchsia, which is also known as quinacridone magenta, in most of the paint lines. Let's put out a titanium white. And this is nice quality titanium white. If you guys cannot find any paint, we do have some in our store that you can get. So if you're running low, we have some just paint sets of the abstract pouch acrylic, and I've hand selected the equivalent. I'm putting out some ultramarine just to treat myself to that color if I like it. That would be optional in your mixes, but I do think I want dioxazine, and I don't know if I'm going to do Naples yellow. It might be nice, but I'm going to see if I can get away without it on this one. All right, that is the palette. Now, I'm going to mist it with my Mr. Patty Hoffman.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you get
Let's
your.
do some bubbles for the bubbles. Come on, bubbles. Go
Yeah,
bubbles.
bubbles.
Go bubbles. It's your snowflakes. It's your snowflakes. Feel better because the canvas was weird during a live show. It's bubbles. It's bubbles. I don't like it when stuff is weird during a live show. I know it's exciting for you. It freaks me out.
There you go.
But it would be weird to throw the brush down and leave the show, right?
We have bubbles live.
We have bubbles live. That's good. So this is a little mister. This is actually a gift from Miss Patty Hoffman. She probably recognizes it. Now to start this, I definitely am going to want to paint in the values and some of the effects that I'm seeing in the sky. I'm going to get some of my blending brushes out. This is my favorite little blending brush. This is actually called an ultimate varnish brush, but I don't use it for varnish. These are some round blenders. You can get those from several places. I'll get a nice scumbly brush. Let's find one of our Cambridges. They're always nice for skies and oceans.
What size is your palette paper over there? That's pretty big.
Oh, it's big. This is the this is the gray pad by New Wave. Where's the size? 11 by 16.
That's
They
pretty
do
awesome.
a really good palette. They do a good glass palette and they do a good peel palette. Really quality. And maybe I'll pull out a bright too. So I pulled out my cat's tongue. So I'm right now what I have out to do the next work. My little set of tools that I put aside. I'm in a weird space today, guys. I'm sorry. I've got out my cat's tongue, a number 8 bright. So this is a ruby satin. That's an Art Sherpa. And then I've also got out my Cambridge number 8. Woo!
I have a good question for you.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a method or reason to how Cinnamon lays out which colors are on where on your thing over there? Palette.
Just about relationship to where I know I'm going to be mixing them. So actually in this one, I kind of put the cool colors over here and the warm colors over here. I will have to cross over a couple places, but it's just a nice convenience. If you're looking for the references and the traceable, that is in the description below. It says TES something something. It's on the Art Sherpa website. But that link takes you directly to the page where you download it. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to mix some colors. I am. Let's take a little of our pink and our red together. They're kind of a fun little color mix. Get a little yellow into it. And let's see where we can take this beginning. It's very peachy. And I'm going to start this by coming here and maybe try to peach this up a bit in the beginning. I don't know. As I reset myself, I'm really thrown. You don't even know. I'll just sort of wiggle that in. These are the early stages of it. You want to get a nice light value. You can see that the green kind of comes up through and mutes it a bit. That's actually rather nice when you're doing different sky effects. I do this with my brush. This can be a little bit hard on your cat's tongue, so you may want to switch to a different scumble brush. You know, if you've got like one in the world. Or just be sure that you're really washing them and reshaping them at the end of your painting sessions. Continue to get into here. Very much like the two of these together. And let's continue to pull in some of these wonderful colors. Aren't those fun?
Yeah.
Just play with the wonderful colors. Take it further than you think you need it. And I may go ahead and paint my cloud back in a minute because it's a dark cloud over this bright yellow. It's bright sky. While you're here, you can grab one of your round blenders or any soft brush that you have. Watercolor brushes will sometimes work, but they will then become your blending brush in your acrylic set. So don't use them for that unless you're willing to have them go. And go ahead and get into my yellow and a lot more of my white. I'm just going to kind of even stay on this little blender here for a minute. See what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
You take your reference photos, whatever you're painting from, and what you really, really want to make sure that you always, always, always have is the basis for something wonderful, but don't be so married to it you miss a moment in your color, right? Because you have an opportunity here to do more than nature can do. So be brave. I'm taking this peach and you can kind of see I'm pulling that in. Rinse that out. Now with this damp, I can even come back and soften some of that, see? So it's kind of like my big blender. but I get into it early on. More yellow. Pulling it that way. I like that little spot right there quite a lot, to be honest. Really want to play with it. Now coming out, we have an interesting thing, and this is really hard on everybody because how do you get your sky, right, when you're trying to go from your blue to your yellow without the whole sky just being totally green? But the truth is the sky tends to be a little green. So if I were to take, say, my phthalo blue and my ultramarine and mix it into my white, I would actually, in that transition, grab a bit of yellow just for this part of the transition. That gives us a starting place. You can always come in and easily darken it. Oh, Melissa Turner says that's another number 12 round blender by Princeton Select. I love that brush. Yeah, I think I found this one at Michael's. Also with the canvas that didn't ruin the beginning of my show. Just, I'm going to hold a grudge forever. John knows me. He's like, oh no. She's going to be talking about that for a while. I'm going to pull some more blue into this. And it's just nice. All of your art tools, all of them, are here for your discretion, for your pleasure. You are not here for your art tools pleasure. That is not what you are here to do. Look at that nice little transitional stuff. And then you can always come back, right, with that light blue and go ahead and let the yellow get into it. See how we're getting that going? Now up here we have a bit of that even more yellow, but you don't want this guy to be green. So there we go. And I'm just random motions. It pushes that around. It gives that some sky. Replacement for Cad Red, asked Jackie Grounds. Really, any red, Jackie, that looks kind of warm to your eye, you can check. I actually have a file and a blog. I've got a blog on the Art Sherpa website, and I've got a file in the Art Sherpa group official. But what you're going to want to look for is something like Naphthol Red Medium, you know, any of the reds that look a little more like they're fire than blood. That's the easiest way if you're really new to painting and you're like, I don't know what any of this is. Look to make sure it looks more like flames than blood, because blood is a very cool red. Cad reds tend to be very warm reds. Pyro red, fantastic warm red. As good as Cad red in every conceivable way. Well, I feel like this is the beginning of a nice sky.
Very much so.
And honestly, I need it. I'm so like freaked out by beginning. Now I'm taking my phthalo blue and my ultramarine blue, and look, I'm going to come right here and I'm going to add a bit of Dox purple to it. Because again, I'm not going to darken my colors in this piece by using black. Why? Because I don't feel like it today. Not because there's some weird rule. Sometimes artists feel like there's this weird rule that you can't use black. Often teachers will recommend that students don't use black just because it can be a challenging color to keep mixes bright and vibrant and satisfying.
You can end up muddying things up fast.
Yeah. I just like using the purple because I feel like to the eye it creates a very playful scape that I'm going to pull some streaks in here. That's fun, right?
Yeah.
Great little drama. Always come back with alternate drama. I feel like there's some right here. Where I need to soften that little line, I will. And then I'm going to step back from this and take a look at it. It's a good idea to get back from your work and take it in and make sure that you're happy with what you see.
Yeah.
I feel like I can be more playful here in the Cad Red Quin Magenta zone. I'm going to see if I can. Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it? You guys ever notice that I get on a brush and then I just stick on it for a while?
I have noticed that. You just...
Because it's in my hand and then I'm so busy thinking about, oh, well, this is what we're doing right now, that it just stays in my hand. Not that it's the best thing in the universe.
And which one is that one?
This one is that number 12 Princeton Select Round Blender. I do not have a relationship at all there.
It is the brush you picked up today.
It is simply that, the brush that I picked up today.
That is a danger of having a brush around the studio. It gets picked up.
Mm-hmm. It'll do that. I think I want more light yellow here, so I'm going to rinse out because I don't want to go peach. I really want in this area some more of the light yellow. So I'm going to load up with a little bit of yellow. Now, I could very easily get into this with my Naples, but I'm going to go ahead and just do it with my limited palette. Maybe a little more yellow here. I want a very dramatic sky.
So,
very dramatic. You guys see that?
Yeah, that's a really good question for you.
Okay.
Is there any difference in color value between CAD colors and their respective CAD-free color?
Yeah.
And what would we call the CAD-free version? Okay,
CAD-free is just a marketing ploy. First of all, let's just call that what that is. That was just a big marketing bunch of nonsense. So it is free of cadmium, but it isn't the first paint free of cadmium. It's certainly not the first hue that matches CAD red medium that's free of cadmium. Normally, paint companies call it cadmium hue when they remove the cadmium pigment. Most companies can come fairly close to matching the cadmium. The company that did the cadmium free, when their cadmium hue was a hot mess, and so they came back and reformulated, which I think is really, really good, and then rebranded with the cadmium free thing, and now finally it matches. The fact I'm going to say is it's still $1 cheaper when I shop for it to buy the golden cadmium hue, which is a better match for cadmium pigment.
That's the one you like to grab.
That's my personal opinion. If I have to buy a hue, I'm going to get it from them.
You only get that hue over there.
I only get that hue over there. I watch for my thoughts. Sorry. I heard we do that over here. That's the thing. Oh, isn't this great? Now I'm just coming and kind of softening with the brush. I've been really getting inspired in my digital painting lately to just soften and kind of work that stuff out. Oh, that's good. Now I'm going to let all this have a rest because I'm going to want to come in and do some really fun dark clouds and some really dramatic stuff. And I've got to get some basis going for my waves. All right, so let's come here and say, ooh, a little bit of my Diox purple and my ultramarine and mix. And I'm going to say that this under here, let's begin to there, and this has a nice little bit of shadow, doesn't it? It is easiest to come back and give my highlights once my deepest values are in. For me.
No, the Sherpettes are a little alarmed.
Why?
They don't know if you're mad at the brush that you left in the water.
We shall never speak of this again. Didn't happen. I'm not mad at any brush. I get angry at people, not brushes. Brushes are innocent victims.
just dropped a brush in there.
Somewhere a brush maker woke up in the night and screamed.
Don't leave a brush in the water.
Oh, gosh. And those things are not easy to make either, so that's rude of me.
Don't do that.
I'm going to also bring this very deep value, which if you look at your reference photo to your eye, is almost black, isn't it? Isn't it fun to use purple?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing oceans, that's my thing. When I'm doing oceans, I'm much more inclined to use the purple as my black. And I'm going to notice that how are my strokes going? They're curving, aren't they? Curving, curving, curving. Curving.
So purple is the new
I pulled
black.
out all these brushes and then I haven't picked up another one. Somebody, what is going on this Saturday?
I feel like there's a Sherpa special. Quinacridone is the new black.
I should do a thing where I like tell you guys all my favorite color mixes that nobody would expect. Because I have some very unique ones to my weird little activity in the studio. Now I'm going to continue this dark value. If you look where you see these dark values, right? You can kind of come in and be like, oh, that's where it's happening. But it stops. We're going to have to stop it there. I'm going to have to bring that back. And it's a bit up here, but it's not everything up here. And these are the beginnings of how we start to shade that out. You guys see how that's starting to shade out?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes these kinds of skies, don't they seem overwhelming?
They do.
They do. They do. There's so many ways to do clouds, guys. There are so many ways to do clouds. Before I get into this, you could sponge it. You can use aluminum foil. You could use cellophane. You can use scruffly brushes. You can use my varnish brush. You could use sponges. You could splatter them. You could do them with your fingers. You do it with a palette knife. The thing about clouds is its shape and value. Boom. Shape and value. The way you get the paint on there isn't what makes it cloudy. It's the shape and the value. So let's get in here and maybe do a bit of this kind of darker little cloud that we've got there. I might even get a little green into that. Yeah, because we want a dark cloud, don't we?
Yeah.
Because this little fellow is dark. And what am I working on? Shape. Cloudy shapes. What are cloudy shapes? Weird random bits of hot mess. That's what they are. It doesn't really matter what your brush is. You've got to somehow figure out how to express a weird random bit of hot mess. Look at that go. This is wave and that's cloud. At the moment, it's hard to tell those apart from each other.
Yeah.
Now, if I get my white into my brush, I might need to get it wet. And based on how my palette is drying, and I am melting in the studio, I'm going to miss my palette. I'm going to make sure this isn't too wet. I'm going to begin the process of saying that it's going to get lighter as it comes back towards this little sun effect. Because they're not all quite as dark as that. And so you've got to make sure that where it needs to be lighter, you let it be lighter. Where it needs to be darker, you let it be darker. If you need to be darker than that, you let it be purple. Now, but it's got to get lighter, and really impacted by the sun's value. So I'm going to rinse out quite a lot. I've got my kind of basic cloud color. I'm going to add some yellow to it and white. Or white even. Actually, let's do something interesting. Let's go orange because it'll gray. There we go. Isn't that an interesting color?
Yeah.
But look, it's the gray. And that's what you've got to have back here is these have to be kind of that I'm impacted by the sun just like anything else is. All right, get it in there, but I want it lighter now. And warmer. Still a cloud shape, but more value. Especially right here. Stand back. Make sure. Oh yeah, we're nailing it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I have here one of my little cloud brushes. They're pretty cool. These are similar shape, but a very different tool. So this is soft and this is stiff. This is a dome scumbler. This is a round blender.
Why do you choose one over another?
When I want a dry brush effect that's strong and absolutely I can kind of push around, because sometimes I want to push my brush around, right? And I want to be in here and be like, can you hear how that goes into the canvas?
Yeah.
These are a little harder to handle, and it's best if the painting underneath is dry, but we're going to get some very light effects with that. But that's something I want you to understand when you're doing these is dome scumbler, and I'll use this here a bit. Notice that I loosen this with my finger because it's a rather new one. And this one is definitely my too blue. So let's start with that. See if we can get that in here. See that wiggle?
Yeah.
Similar deal. I'm just doing this so you can see that other brushes do this.
Wow. That really, no, that's a really cool look.
It's a very cool look. It's another way to get there. But what do we care about in clouds?
They look good?
Well, yeah, we do care that they look good for sure.
I'm not necessarily a good... I feel like this is a pop quiz that I didn't study for.
That you didn't study for? I'm going to go ahead and get some of my quinacridone and my cad red. We're going to come down here and we're going to make this sort of dark color. This is distant cloud effect.
Distant cloud effect.
Hear that wonderful scuffly scuffly?
Uh-huh.
Those are those little distant clouds that you can make. You know, you can come here and go up. Just grabbing what you've got. What am I always trying to do? What's our goal? Texture, right?
Yeah.
You can come in here and lighten around this cloud on a detail.
I'm going to stop guessing because I'm going to guess like we want fluffy clouds.
Well, it's nice if they're fluffy. It is. That's nice. How sweet of them to do that for us. We want to just make sure I just grabbed ultramarine there. I'm just a little bit of paint there and I just scumble that out. So it's really just similar stuff, different tool. How does it go? That sky just gets more dramatic by the second. It's getting so dramatic, Don. How dramatic can it get?
Very.
There's no limit. There's none. Just paint what you have. I feel like we're starting to get some. I am going to come in here and highlight some of this. Okay. I need a new cup of coffee is what it is.
I think we all need a new cup of coffee.
Don't we guys need a new cup of coffee? We're almost there.
We are almost there.
Yeah. Let's stand back and look at our paintings. Everyone stand back.
Stand back.
Stand back
In the middle of the studio.
I did not hear from you. It's all right. Don't sue me, Stevie. I'm not pretending to know how to sing. I'm really not. I'm going to grab just a little bit of this and make this just really amazing orange. And if I can, it needs to be even more yellow than that. I'm going to get a little bit of some highlight going. So I wiped off my pigments so that when I came back to get this, I had a little more control. Dialing it in. And what we're saying is that there's some highlights here, aren't there?
Yeah.
Into that cloud. Illuminating it. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Can we take a coffee break and meet back up here, same bad time, same bad channel, start working on the wave?
Mm-hmm.
So we bubble it?
Should we bubble? What are we? So is this you do a 3-minute? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, maybe like a 3-minute. Oh, that's a terrible look. Side of my head, not my favorite. I'm going to make a fresh cup of coffee. I'll see you guys right back here and we'll continue working on the wave. If you've been painting with me live, it's a good time to stand up, get your shoulders back, make sure you weren't hunching, make sure you were doing self-care, hydrate, hit the restroom. Take care of your body while you're painting and taking care of your spirit. It's super important. I don't know what else I was going to say.
Okay, we'll see you just a minute.
Just a minute.
White sand, blue bay, hand in hand, slept there for days. Light wind, gray haze, eye to eye, we parted ways. Meet me under the ocean. Save me from surface rejection. Tell me you crave my affection. Forever be waves of my ocean. Soft stepped hard shells, shallow whispers in deep swells. Help me catch my breath, we're getting higher. Imagining your face, you're my desire. Meet me under the ocean. Save me from surface rejection. Tell me you crave my affection.
Hey guys.
Hey everybody. So Twix wanted to say hi. She's been under the easel while we've been painting, and she's been feeling a little bit like she needs some cuddles. So throw up some cuddle emojis for poor little Twix. She's like, I've been getting petted this whole time.
She is not.
Whole time. Say hi. Hi, hi, hi. Oh, go back to my bed under the easel and get treats. All right, let's remist our stuff. Sip our coffee. All right. In life, sometimes stuff throws you. It happens where things technically go wrong. You get challenges, you get things, and it kind of like, you get flustered, right? But the thing is, in a painting, you just proceed forward. You just relax and you get your cup of coffee and you take a deep breath and you keep going because the end result is something really gorgeous you get to hang on your wall and feel amazing about. All right. So that is looking okay. We've got some detailing work I want to do with my round brush. I'll take an Art Sherpa number 4 round. And I'm going to go ahead and just load up with some white and maybe a smidge of yellow here. And I'm going to kind of piece draw some of this little highlighting that we do manage to get out of these little clouds. See, I'm creating lots of little shapes. Now, as I come lower, I can get more into the yellows and oranges, so I'll get them to my cad red and into my yellow. Now we can even say that's in here. And you can see that this one gives me quite a lot of control over where the haloing is. You know, sometimes when we're teaching those beginning painting lessons that are in the one hoots, we use some very simplified cloud techniques. But when you're really doing clouds, you're generally using a group of techniques to express what you've got going on. I'm going to continue to get the yellow here and make sure that we've got the fun little sky events. And so you can come in and apply more details into your sky, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to just play unfair, you just take a bit of your cad yellow and your cad red. And go ahead and piece out some of what you're seeing here. We're also going to come along and we're going to take some yellow. And we're going to go ahead and come along the top of our wave. I'm going to do something very important. We're going to create a little halo space. Because believe it or not, all along our wave is a little bit of a halo. Best to get it in now. I'm going to come back with my soft brush to blend this out. If I haven't let it dry, oh good, I haven't. I just want this to be there, but not such a noticeable line that I can't. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, we soften that. Now we have lots and lots of little wave bits to do, and we're going to backlight water, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Let's start getting into our basic ocean color, which is our phthalo blue and phthalo green. You can even get a little white into it so you can see it. And in this particular ocean, we're going to lean much more towards the green. Let's start to, right here, put a strong amount of that. Brushing that down towards that front of the wave. Getting more into my green, still with a little bit of phthalo blue. And every once in a while, you can definitely start to warm that with a bit of yellow. These are that first. You want to capture the curve. So if you look here, the curve kind of comes in and goes down. And it can be a little challenging. Let's get a little of our green and yellow into it. I'm still on this round brush, and that's fine. I'm going to also start to come here and cast a bit of green, kind of dark over this. In fact, I may even come over it with my just pure phthalo. So it stays very in shadow, but it starts to cast green, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and dust that this way. So now our wave is starting to gem up and jewel up and have reflections. Rinse out. I'm going to switch into my number 8 cat's tongue. And again, a little blue. I'll grab some of my yellow here. There's even some white. Now along here, I'm going to brush down the beginnings of some reflections that are coming at an angle here, and there's a hot spot of sunlight that's happening. Paying attention to how the sunlight is happening. Things that I'm going to be doing is making sure that these strokes are not too even yet. It's too early for them to be that even. Let's make some little wave ripples here. Maybe some down here. You can always blend in by going back into your phthalo or back into your phthalo blue. See how that works?
Mm-hmm.
So if it gets away from you, it's a pretty easy fix. As we come forward here, you're going to notice that the closer we are to the horizon, the closer we are to a level line, and then it begins to curve up. See how that works? Even on where it pulls up into the wave.
Wow.
I'm wiggling my brush, kind of creating the beginnings of some of those ripples and some of those little ripple thoughts. I'm up here. I'm going to make a little of my turquoise. Kind of like in that medium space. And just begin to start to talk about what is happening there. So this part of the wave can get really overwhelming to paint. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. Let's get some purple on our brush. I do. I get it. It's got a lot of little parts and details and whatnots. Little bits of outlined water coming in. If you did the girl flinging her hair, we actually have already learned the skills. I'm going to make a little deeper value kind of coming down the center there, saying that's sort of in shadow. Beginning to talk about the shadow of that. That's looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Got some highlights. We got some shadows. Probably should have grabbed myself more clean water than I did. Gonna come here and smooth blend anything that I need to. And sip my coffee.
Let's see here. You looking over there at the chat?
I did. I got distracted by the chat. How are you guys doing? Sometimes I look at the chat to see how you guys are doing.
It's good because sometimes you're able to catch stuff on the chat that I can't because I'm switching. So it's good to see people. I tell you what.
Melissa Turner is giving advice to use what you have, right? And it's always okay to substitute. Yeah. Don't run out and go to the art store to finish it. You could do these tutorials in black and white paint and get as much personal joy out of them, as much personal education out of them as with anything else. So, like, if you were just down to black and white, do any tutorial you see online, which is that, and just try to practice values. You can always practice with what you have. If you have red, yellow, and blue, make a color chart. I just was answering that online the other day. Make a color chart. If you only have primaries, make a color chart and see how many colors you can mix with what you have, and then just get close, because what's first in this wave, like what's happening here in this wave, more than color is value, right? What makes this look like a sky is shape and value. Oh, those look great. Shape and value, right? More than hue, which is the color. So if you can get those values down, you can really get what you need to out of painting. What is Act on Patreon? Well, we don't have a Patreon. We have a patron. Oh, ATC. You're asking what is the ATC on the patron group? So ATCs are kind of our adult pen pals thing. Basically, you trade art with people around the world. You do a teeny tiny little painting on a 2.5 by 3.5 card, and we, keeping your address private, securely swap them with people around the world, and you can collect original pieces of art. You can get to know people from the community and see what they're painting. It's actually pretty exciting. We have a group on Facebook, the ATC group for the Art Sherpa, and you can do one card for free.
Now, we're about to do some updates to our ATC swap program, aren't we?
We're going to be updating it a lot.
And that's so if you're a member of the ATC group, you should definitely be paying attention over the next, I don't know, couple weeks, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a couple weeks. We got a plan of
plans.
cool stuff.
Make it more fun.
Karen gives you an art high five out there.
Oh, well, I think we need to bubble that. Shall we bubble?
Shh, bubble. Doo-doo. So grateful for that you share your
Can't
time
wait. So,
and
you
talent
guys,
so
when I go to the
generously.
hairdresser, I'm going to have such a party.
So Karen says
It's
she
going to
loves
be like a party.
She loves that to learn from your tutorials, and she wanted to say thank you and how much she appreciates you. So thank you, Karen. We appreciate it too.
Thank you. Thank you. This is looking really pretty.
Yeah, it really is.
We're going to feel good about having this on our wall, aren't we?
I will.
Now, the center is a very interesting bit. Still using my cat's tongue. You could use a filberter around here, guys. You don't have to be that stressed to have exactly what I have. I'm going to go ahead and add a little of my cat red to that. And let's come here and start with just this line coming down. I'm on the edge of this brush, and notice that I'm kind of curving that stroke.
Yeah.
So that stroke is helping me make an implied line. And it's just the start. It's just the start to what we're doing. Right about here is kind of like where we start to see this not maybe be as strong, so we can start breaking that open. You know, on the outer edge, it's just maybe a little more warm. And this starts to remind you, if you did Fire Chicken in Acrylic April, you're going to go, wait, Fire Chicken applies to this sunlight on this wave? Yes, it does. I am the Mr. Miyagi of art lessons online. Wax on, wax off. You will learn the secret of painting. My dad used to pretend that picking up rocks had that same effect, but it did not. But the reason that we do this is that as we move away from the heat source and it cools, it goes more into that red spectrum.
Yeah.
Now, it's real fun because you can always take your green and play into your orange. This is fun in pine trees and lots of different compositions, but it will let you start to create those little halftone blends you're going to need. And you will need them. Now see, it is still orange. It doesn't look orange on the palette, but it will look orange here. Just a little bit here and there. Maybe a little more red into that. And you can even get a little white into it. Look at that.
Now, there's a good question. If you're painting along in a tutorial, what do you think? Is it okay for the artist to put their initials on that?
Yes. So what you're doing, if you want to know the terms for what it is when you paint along in a class like this, and you paint along in a tutorial, is you're replicating, right? You're not doing an original, even if you paint it with your own two hands. It's not considered an original, but it is considered an original replica. In other words, you're painting with me and you're replicating what I have, and it's perfectly okay to put your signature on it. And we have a use policy that's different than most teachers. So always ask your teacher. A lot of teachers say you cannot sell your art. You cannot show your art. You cannot do that. It is for the class only. And understand that your teacher does retain that copyright. But we have a thing where, like, if you're selling in a private setting or, your local stuff, that's completely cool. If you go online, if you're doing events, if you're doing exhibits, we just ask that you attribute where you got the design, inspired by, Cinnamon Cooney, the Art Sherpa, somewhere in some published way around the painting. Right? Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm going to get on the toe of my brush. I'm going to kind of piece out some of these interesting little shapes. See how it kind of goes up and down?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get some of those little shapes. I like to think about those shapes. Here. Let's play with that a bit. Fun to do this. It's such a colorful wave. It doesn't seem as colorful as it is. I'm going to get more into my red here. It doesn't seem as colorful as it is until you start to paint with, play with the paint and the color, and then you're like, wow, this is so colorful. That was fun to do. I'm going to get some more of that color. And maybe even more in the red there.
Bump my little camera. Sorry about that.
That's okay. A little more yellow into it. We're just and we'll come back with some little green, like the little green piecing. Let's step back and look at that. And it's important to step back and look at it, make sure that the bow of your curve is looking wonderful. So things to think about when you're doing this, think about it in your brain. Things to think about is the sweep of the wave, right? The wave is sweeping up. Like you can even do that motion with your body, sweeping up. And this curve, right, has, depending on the steepness of the wave, its perspective on its curl, and then also about its distance. So we have a lot going on here. Now I'm going to come back and just make sure that my distant horizon line is so level. Look at me level that off.
So Sunray says,
hi, Sunray.
She says she's a fellow teacher and says how awesome it is that you're painting along, and she gets a chance to learn with you. and loves to play when painting with you. So thank you so much.
Let's play. We're playing. Thank you, Sunray. I appreciate it. Is that a bubble moment?
It is a bubble moment.
Let's bubble it up, Sunray. This bubble's
Shh.
for you. This bud's for you.
Bubble, 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 bubble. And thank all of you guys who come and hang out with us today. It's really nice to be
We're super happy to have Bubbles back.
It's nice to be back with Bubbles.
My hair is doing all kinds of what today?
You're not feeling your...
I'm not feeling my hair today. Some days I really feel my hair, but this isn't one of those days. The thing is, I always try to be grateful for my hair. Like, no matter what state it's in. But there are some days that I would say we're more on a break than anything else. We're like Ross and Rachel. We're on a break. Sorry, I just brought up a painful time in your life. Starting to maybe get some of these little shadows here, right?
Now, why is it some people say you should start with one medium over another?
Because they have random opinions, I suppose. People have nothing but opinions, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're made of, is opinions. So look, every medium has positives and negatives. Every one.
Yeah.
I really like acrylic and watercolor. And I don't teach oils, but that doesn't mean that I don't think oils are awesome, that I don't think they're for beginners, that I don't think somebody could do it. I just have an affinity for water media. What I would say is, as a beginner, what you want to figure out is the practicality of you. Where are you going to be painting? Kitchen table or studio? Do you have adequate ventilation? If you don't have good ventilation, oils might not be a good medium for you. Because some of the products with oils can do some off-gassing. And it's always good to think about ventilation in a studio anyways. If you are, if you're not super patient, oils might not be medium for you because they take a long time to dry. But the learning curve on everything is the same. So if you're like, I want to learn watercolor, your learning curve to watercolor is the same as acrylic. There are techniques that are easier to master in watercolor than acrylic. There are things that are easier to do in acrylic than in watercolor. Digital painting is a lot less messy than all of it, but it's not necessarily easier to learn. The learning curve is the same. You're going to be learning how to layer, how to get value, how to get mixes, what will your medium do, what won't it do, and how can you as an artist creatively address those things. I really like watercolor. I think it's going to take off. Just because it's so easy to travel with and it's so easy to work with and it's very portable. But, there's nothing like just sitting there and doing your acrylic painting, right? But if you're an oil artist out there and you're loving it and you're saying it's for beginners, I agree with you. I do. I don't want to teach it, but you teach it. I bet you're good. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, there's another question here. What do you use for your digital painting?
Right now, I use Sketchbook. Which is like kind of like a free little app, and it's on my iPad. I've got Procreate. I'm learning Procreate right now. I've got Sketchbook. I've got Illustrator. I'm just kind of going through and learning the tools. I really like it though.
It's very fun.
I like it. I do.
You seem to be having a good time.
I'm having a good time. Look, when I'm stressed, just like you guys, painting helps me. I'm bringing some dark values back in. See how we are? And trying to, oh, that's lovely. Let's bring one right across here, huh?
Yep.
And then you can really come in and hit some dark values coming back. And it's just nice to do this, little dark shadows. These are the shadows that are not scary. Happy shadows. They make your wave show up. We all want our wave to show up. Now up here, up top, these are certainly a little bit lighter. any of it ever gets away from you guys, remember, you can always paint out whatever bothered you.
Yep.
I'm going to bring this down and kind of make some interesting little patterns there. Can you see those interesting little patterns?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I can come back into my green, maybe a little bit of yellow. And like make some interesting patterns back here. These little ripples in the wave. Ripples in the wave. So you guys are being so good because right now, the next episode of Eternal Monarch is out on Netflix, and I am not rushing off to go watch it.
I don't even know what that is, but I'm glad you're...
It's the show you keep complaining about because it's subtitled.
Oh.
It's a Korean rom-com. I watch a lot of Korean rom-coms. It has some of my favorite actors in it. And it came out, and I'm so into it. There's a white horse. It's got a storyline. There's interdimension. There's magic. There's evil. There's love. There's passion. There's really cool walking past each other slowly scenes. Because that's how they express romance. We're going to walk past each other in slow-mo. But there's a moment. Okay, sorry.
It's okay. You are passionate about your rom-coms.
I really am.
And this is what happens when, you're trapped inside and you watch all your TV and you have to go to all of the other neighboring countries to find out what
I
they've been
watched
doing.
Boys Over Flowers years ago with my mom.
It's true, you did.
And then I had Honey watch Boys Over Flowers. And then they remade Boys Over Flowers, but honestly, the first cast, best cast. And we're just kind of bringing that little lighter blue-green through there.
Yep.
Always get a little white into it. And say, you are the water. I love it. I'm going to bring that highlight down. Just love me some Korean rom-com. It's a very good formula.
It really is.
It appeals to me. They know what I'm about. They see in my heart. I'm going to add a little highlight. Whoop. That was my canvas moving. So sometimes I tip my canvas forward so I have a better angle on it. I'm just kind of adding a lighter value through here.
Yeah.
Let's step back and see how we're doing.
I think it's turning out pretty good.
If you watch a Korean rom-com, tell me what your favorite is. Right now, I'm watching The Eternal Monarch.
The Eternal Monarch.
And also The Mystic Pop-Up Bar.
I'll keep an eye out.
Which is really good. Wait, I have to tell them how good it is. It's so good. So Eternal Monarch, very romantic, very good, very funny. Very funny. Every time the king's like, behead you, I behead you, I'm just cracking up on the floor. He doesn't actually behead it. Well, he doesn't actually behead anybody initially.
Initially.
Well, there comes a point where we're all like, yeah, all these guys got to
beheaded.
go. They're super evil, destroy the whole universe. It's just terrible. And then now there's the Mystic Pop-Up Bar, and it's like one of those like really crazy random, you must save like 100,000 souls because people like sucked to you a long time ago, and I don't know. I don't ever understand the punishment. I don't ever get the, because I'm like, that poor girl, and the universe is like, you will 100,000, but regardless, however we got there, so funny. You do have to read your TV though.
Yes.
Which John does not like.
I just tired, I think.
He's like, I'm so tired. Why do we have to read this?
I can't read my
I'm going to
TV
add a
at
little
night.
white in here and continue to highlight. Make a little, see how we're doing a little highlights there?
Yeah.
And it's real fun sometimes to pull the peach against that blue-green. Because honestly, the reason that this is somewhat gorgeous is that we're talking about contrasting colors, the orange and the green in this. That's what the photographer was playing with, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Playful photographer. Very playful photographer. I'm really enjoying this.
I think it turned out really nice.
We're just like...
Oh, And then I'm over here. I'm seeing Mama Moff says, "Thank you for always making my day and putting a smile on my face. You're truly amazing." Well, thank you, Mama.
Thank you. Forward-facing bubble time. Sippy coffee bubble time.
Gotcha.
And honestly, you're going to appreciate the recommendation for Eternal Monarch if you don't mind reading. If you don't mind reading it with the kids.
Sam's like, "Oh yeah, she's gonna make sure that she has something
Might be a
to
little
talk
bit
about."
bloody in a couple spots.
You're like, "I'm gonna be able to talk to my community about these shows." So thank you guys.
I just really like the two passing faces.
The bubbles. Whoosh. I don't know what you're talking-
Also, everybody has their own wind machine
do they?
all the time. I even told John, and he'll verify this, that I wanted a wind machine in here so that when I'm telling you something very urgent
Oh, it's true.
about painting, my hair could just be.
We may do that still. We may have a wind machine.
Avoid Parasite. That wasn't funny. Yeah, the guy that did the host and Parasite and Snowpiercer, he's the guy
He's
that has
awesome.
no sense of humor.
He's very good.
Very good. Scary, upsetting stuff. But I want, shh, you're so and everybody's so handsome. So handsome! Everybody, so handsome! I'm okay.
All right.
I'm going to finish this painting.
All right. You should do that.
I'm going to get into my number 4 round. That's what I'm going to do. I am. And I'm going to start micro mixing some colors. Oh, wait. I still have to do thing down the middle here. I have to start getting some yellow. Yellow, yellow. A little white. And a smidge of orange. It's hard to catch that exact range.
Ian's great. He's like, don't you hate when you go to a convention and you're hanging out with all the Klingons and they're all like, "Mach, lock, and you can't understand a thing they're saying.
Is everyone saying that when I talk about rom-coms that no what?
He was just relating to you, and I just thought it was funny.
Their love is so universal. I don't need to know the language. I can tell what's going on. I watched the original Pac de Loup and just visiting in French, and I promise you my French was not good enough for it.
You would probably, enjoy the Korean rom-coms in their original Klingon.
I do listen to it in their original Klingon. I listen to it in original language. I don't sit there and switch over to English sub.
No. I mean, like Star Trek Klingon. Remember how they claimed that they had all of the, like they claimed Shakespeare, they claimed all the...
that's right. That's right.
So
they claimed everything was theirs. I forgot that. Don't kick me out of the Star Trek Club, please. I'm adding a little more warmth to my sunlight coming down here.
Yeah, I was saying Klingon, not Korean.
Oh, I didn't know what you were saying.
I know, that's because there's a wall between us, so I realized
Just
that.
like, I don't get it. I'm like, whatever you're saying, I watch it in original language. That moment when you have no idea what your husband's saying and you get trolled by the internet.
You're just going by the rules of theater. Yes, I'm going to agree to whatever you say.
I did. I just completely improv that whole moment.
I hope I'm not agreeing to get married on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. Wait, that happens?
Oh, guys, do you love that light coming down? Like, up close, it's in, but like a minute away, it's just gorge.
Shannon's like, we actually have a Klingon dictionary in our house.
Good. That's actually kind of cool, Shannon, to be really honest. I'm kind of into that you do. I really am.
When I was in high school, I knew a guy who learned Klingon.
Did he?
Yeah. In a non-ironic kind of way.
There is a non-ironic way to learn
yeah,
Klingon?
maybe.
Huh?
worked for him.
It worked for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, but did he have a girlfriend? That's the next question.
Not until much, much later in life.
Let me get my purple now.
I
Keep my purple now. What are we doing? We're painting a wave. Hello, YouTube. This is what we do. Sub to my channel and we'll keep staying weird.
Lily has the Learn Klingon disc for the computer. Now, what's awesome is if it's a 3.5 inch blue disc, those are awesome. But if it's the 5 1/4 big floppies, those were the real treasures. That means that was like a really early edition of that. I've seen those.
Okay, let's step back and look at our wave. By the way, if you are in Korean cinema and you need somebody to like come over and do an ad or something, I'm up for it.
She's an American.
Maybe doing a painting party on set for actors.
You'll have to come out and say "Kamsahamnida." Say hello to
you
everyone.
And your ability to actually do languages makes me so jealous.
Well, I just
Need
traveled
a
around a little bit.
translator for sure, and that's frustrating.
I know how to get water, which is like mul, and
Yeah, John actually got to go to Korea. I didn't get to go to Korea.
which is funny because I walk in the room and I hear things and I remember words that are being said, which is kind of cool.
Is that part cool?
It is kind of cool.
I'm taking some white and I'm going to start kind of creating that little sense of sunlight. Well, at least that's cool. Right there. See, I'm making that kind of uneven little wave lip. Oops. It doesn't actually matter. Ah! We awesome.
It's looking good.
It does look good. I'm super happy with it. I'm getting some very light green over here. And I'm going to start to make sure that I have that kind of worked out over here.
So some folks were commenting that they're having a little trouble with chat.
Okay.
If for some reason your chat's having trouble, you may just need to refresh your window. That could be something that's going on with YouTube. It could be a internet issue. It could be many different things. Oh my gosh. Back in the IRC days, I remember when you say net split.
Hi, Paco from Cancun. I saw that on chat. Shout out for Tolkien. Sure. Check to see if you are on top chat or live chat. That's a very good tip.
Yep.
I'm going to get back to my business, but that was a very good tip. She gave you a good tip, just so you know. This is a good tip. I'm going to make some orange. And put a little of the seafoam little bit in it. So we can come right here and make sure that we are highlighting some of our wave a little more specifically to the reference photo. See how that went?
Yeah.
Gotta highlight the wave to the reference photo. Now I'm going to make an exaggerated orange. I love how I'm like, gonna do it, then I don't do it, and then I'm gonna do it, and then I don't do it.
and it's only fun for me because I'm simultaneously, we're having fun swinging, the band hammer at trolls while switching.
Oh, are we getting trolled?
No, not really, but every once in a while there's somebody who comes along, and
Has
so
a feeling.
yeah, we get to,
Don't you let them take your feelings from you, troll. You be you. You do you.
you do. You just get banned from chat, so don't feel bad. We're say bye-bye. It's like you're not gonna stick around.
Oh, well, hello, Arslan and Habib.
Hello, everybody.
Arslan and Habib.
Yeah.
So I shouted out some kids. Those were some little brushes, and somebody was
hi,
like,
little
"Shout out my
brushes."
kids," and I'm like, I don't know, we don't normally do that, but I love kids, so
Little brushes.
little brushes kind of. We have a bunch of exempt rules. I'm adding some white highlights to sort of catch that feeling in that way. We have a bunch of little exemption rules that kind of work for.
What is a troll? That's a very complicated thing.
Well, okay, actually, I have a thing on this. Would you like to know what I think a troll is?
What is a troll?
As a
Sherpa?
YouTuber, as somebody who's been online for years, a troll is somebody that comes in to disrupt a space, a chat, a thread, for the purpose of being argumentative and disruptive. That is very different from somebody that has a genuine complaint.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people online will say, this person's a troll. Just because you disagree with me doesn't make you a troll.
Yeah.
But
Generally,
if you come in and you just like, in the IRC days, it was just somebody that would come in and say something crazy in a room to get everybody arguing.
Just to start a fight.
Yeah, just to start a fight. And they're kind of like energy vampires. And it's about being disruptive. Sometimes what we have is people that want to come in and market or sell something or run a political campaign. That's kind of a troll, but it's mostly an annoyance. They're not like there to like suck your soul out.
We still ban them.
Huh?
Yeah, we still ban them.
We still ban all that, but I'm just saying. It's,
no politics, no selling sunglasses.
No.
No.
None of that.
Yeah, no vacuum cleaner sales.
John says no.
Although,
So what I'm doing here is kind of like these little weird sparkly reflections. They're kind of fun to do. Sort of fun to do and add to your wave. And they add a lot of personality. If ever you're trying to talk about water and you're getting that deep shadow, get that effect of water, don't forget that water has that deep shadow, so you've got to shade it.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough. Is it raining?
It is. It's been raining on and off all day.
Man,
sun comes out.
Anything.
Sun
all
goes
right.
away.
So there we go. I know that was a lot of fussy bits, but that was a very involved little bit of curl. And we kind of got to get that all along the edge because we have that all along the edge. All along the edge.
All along.
Oh, I like this. Thank you. Both of you were awesome and perfect together. I agree. Wait, which Ian? Ian Jackson! Ian Jackson! Hey, dude, how you doing? Sorry. All right, I'm going to keep coming here and pulling that up. Dude, I loved your latest paintings, Ian. They were really cool. Ian also does online art videos, but he never, ever, ever markets himself in my groups or my chats. He always comes as a friend and a fan, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to shout him out. But honestly, I do like a bunch of the art he's been doing lately. It's been pretty cool. And also, he understands the nature of Ewoks.
Yes.
Like, completely. He gets what we're up against. And that's important because Ewoks be a problem. So along the edge of your water, you really, really want to, create some dimensionality and bits of something. Could be going out somewhere. And I'm going to exaggerate it a bit with some of that orange. And then I'll come back and exaggerate it again a bit with some yellow and some white.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see that that's pretty fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get some white and yellow in there. Just adding those little white reflections to the top of that water. And then when we put the shadow reflections in, man, it's on. Nice to keep a loose mix of white and yellow into it. All right, how are we liking the top of that wave? Is it
I
a
love it.
glowing?
Yeah.
Is it glowing? Can I get a coffee heat up?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's amazing. And I'm going to take in my painting.
Take in the painting.
Oh, my coffee. Like, it's in the most amazing ceramic cup, but to keep me cool enough from melting in front of your very eyes. You're the best. You're the best ever, baby. I love you. To keep you from seeing me melt in front of your very eyes, we've got to keep it cool enough. But then that's drying out my paint and also cooling my coffee. And yet I'm still cool. All right. Gonna see bunch more stuff about live chat and a nice compliment from Marie Stoker. You do beautiful work, Cinnamon. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. My goal is that you guys do some beautiful work, that you're like out on the internet sharing, feeling pretty amazing about yourselves. And remember, if this is your first time painting, don't let that result be something that stops you. Artwork, like riding a bicycle, like learning to surf, like learning to cook, it just has a learning curve. Learning to sew, right? Like the first thing you sew, right? But then as you go and you learn more and more skills, it gets better and better. Everything is like that. So if there's something you really want in your life and you enjoy just the act of doing it, if you're sitting here and you enjoy the act of painting, but you're not really sure how you feel about the result, I'd like you just to wait and do more paintings, because what will happen is as you paint, you're going to get better. You're going to like the results more. The skills are going to come. But that feeling that you have when you do it, that's the precious secret sauce to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anyone else here wipe out? Asked Holly Stone. All right, that's pretty cool. I like that. What's the trick to water? Water splashes, do we remember from the girl flinging her hair?
I remember.
It's in the shadows. Make sure you give those little water droplets some shadows. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially under them. And a couple places in them. And then when we come back, that's important stuff. Pretty terrific. Makes the whole thing sing. It does. Makes the whole thing kind of sing. It can always come and get, a little bit of a dark. I'm going to come in and add some white and start to do some of the inside wave nonsense. So here in this, there's just so much kind of churning water, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do it perfect. Sometimes it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do this perfect. You don't. You just want to capture the essence of it. Very hard to keep my brush wet enough to keep going. You're just keeping the essence of it. And it can be nice to kind of talk a little bit about just even this little mottled kind of blue space. You can come down and speak about it here just a little bit, even under the wave where it's super dark. Right? Pushing that little wave in. Oh, it's coming
It really
in.
is coming together.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I loves it. I loves it, loves it, loves it. Let's get some orange going into our water, because there's a bunch of that happening. So as you're coming here in the water, what you're actually seeing happen, guys, what you're painting is the fact that water is transparent and also a lens, and it reflects light. So all the colors in the sky, all the colors around it are active and alive within the wave. And try to think of it like that, active and alive within the wave. And the more that you can come in and show that space, the better result that you're going to get.
Yeah.
You'll see me go back to the palette often, and I will be kind of trying to vary the values that I'm seeing. Sometimes into more orange and sometimes into more yellow. You may hear a sneeze in a minute.
Sneezes.
I think sneezes are coming.
Oh no. I muted you.
Did you?
I found the, my hand
They
got
don't
to the
need to
mute
hear
button
my
right
weird
before.
little sneeze, do they?
I got to the mute button first.
Look at that water coming in. We love the water.
We do.
We love it. I'm just bringing some little sparkles down here. That happens sometimes.
It does.
Little sparkles. And then as I'm coming up, I'm going to get more into my yellow. Come back up here. You know, and it's still here, but it's more yellow maybe. And, you know, moving back, there's maybe a little more yellow. And then we're going to get more into the greens and the yellow greens. But make sure that, you know, you're still giving this space some of the bright pops of yellow.
The bright pops of
Just
yellow.
a few. Doesn't have to be crazy. Just because we're trying to capture that wave, that top of it. That it's just about to do its frothy thing. It hasn't done it yet. It's thinking about doing it. So our basic ocean color here is much more green. And to capture the next bits of yellow and green and blue, we're going to have to definitely work those mixes. So let's talk about some highlights that are happening maybe through here. You see me kind of wiggling the brush. That's me trying to make sure that my brush strokes imitate a bit the texture of the wave, the bumpy randomness of it. That's what I'm trying to do, is imitate that texture. Right? And that's what you're doing, is you're imitating that texture. And I'm going to make John kind of miserable because I'll jump around a bit. That's just me noticing different little highlight levels, little bits of specific highlights that are happening. As I'm going forward, I might get a little more blue into that, but definitely a lot more white. It's not our final highlight, but it's pretty important. Especially through here. Where it's dark, it's okay to every once in a while capture a little bit of a bright highlight, as if maybe some of it caught into the sunlight some in an unexpected way. How do you feel your guys' waves are going?
Pretty good.
All right. It's excellent. Making sure we've got that nice little space. See how I sometimes dot it and then make little wiggle lines?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it can be good to watch somebody paint live in real time. I'm not saying that there isn't value in a sped up lesson where you can take it in kind of as a whole. I'm just saying that sometimes the real time painting lets you understand the process that you're really actually addressing.
Yeah.
You know, and
Wanna
go
zoom
there.
in so they can see all that detail work.
It's just a lot of little fussy bits, right?
Yeah.
Let's come in here and grab some of our white paint. It's a little bit gloppy, so I might need to kind of thin it with some water. Doesn't have to be perfect white, but I do want it to come off the brush kind of well. We're going to put a couple of these like hotter spots of highlight. Yeah, right down there. So we're seeing it. You may have to go into your, interestingly enough, your phthalo blue right here. I'll balance some of that out with my phthalo blue. See how I'm doing that?
Yeah.
Not everywhere. Just a little bit on there. You can always come back with your purple blue green mixture, right? Which is your shadow in the wave. Just make sure that those shadows tell that story. Right? Look at that story right there, that little shadow story that they're telling, kind of coming down. So pretty. They showed up for us just to make sure we could enjoy what we're doing. Oh, I like it. How do you guys feel? Don't you feel like this is fun, fun, fun?
Yeah, this has really turned out nice.
Now, I will go ahead and take a little bit of my white and yellow green, and I'm going to come here and maybe even a little more white. A couple of places. Exaggerate some of the splashes. And I may come in and get a little bit of my red and add some crazy reflections that have happened. You can do. You know where they're going to be. Just around. Just play with it. It's yours. And it is yours. Very yellow. But again, bit of an orange cast to it, which is why it just constantly looks amazing against the green. Playing. I feel good.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel good?
I'm loving it.
So the lens flare that's here, that was an effect of the camera.
Yeah.
And we've done it, we can do it, but I'm inclined on this one not to. Because I feel like what we have here is amazing as it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and piece that out maybe. I think it's fun to add a little detail to what you've got going on. Yeah. Fun for me, fun for me. Yellow back in there. So see, I'm making clouds with my little round brush, aren't I?
Yeah.
Any brush. Any. Okay, I could do this for 4 hours, but I will stop now. Because I feel like we got the basic gist of it.
This turned out really good.
It did. I'm going to sign it, and then I'm going to show you some stuff you might want to know about.
All right.
Maybe you won't, but maybe you will. I'm going to use a color that I have in my painting, but at a light enough value that I can see it, which is what you see me fussing with. Come right here. You could technically sign it in the CAD red, but I just think that's a lot.
This looks really pretty good.
And I worked really hard on the wave, and I don't want to put a big spot of red down at the corner. Doesn't that look lovely?
Yeah, that looks really nice.
We delivered. We
Yeah.
delivered on the painting we said we were going to do. Now, if you're not completely sick of me, tonight, and you are, maybe you're aware, maybe you're not, but we also have watercolor classes that are happening on Facebook. And twice a month, we do a group live. In the group live, I teach an acrylic technique. We did that the previous week, and in the next one, we're going to do a one tonight at 5 p.m. in the Art Sherpa official group on Facebook. I'm going to show you guys how to paint this little sucker. So this is watercolor. You could use any watercolors you have. Just grab a round brush. This is going to be about the techniques, the paper, the basic stuff, and information that beginners need to know. Now, if you want to check out last week's, what we did is we tested all the coatings for paper on how you would paint acrylic on paper and get a good result. And I told you guys what I liked and what I didn't like. And I think some of that was surprising. And you get these free lessons. We do like a free in-group lesson. So it's the Art Sherpa official. It's on Facebook. You got to answer the 3 questions to be approved.
Yes.
Please. If you can't agree to the rules, if it gives you that option, definitely do that. Sometimes I know it doesn't. We are aware of that as moderators. It is a student group. It is for coming in and sharing the results of the tutorials and your beginning journey. So it's very focused on that. It's not a marketing group. We don't allow any of that, which is kind of nice. Not that marketing isn't great. It's just not the group for it. And you can come by and twice a month be part of those classes. If you want to see if you'd like watercolor, this would be a great night to do it. If you like it, every Wednesday I'm doing a watercolor class on Facebook, just like this, but watercolor. I don't know. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to forward face, do the thing, and then we'll let you make the pass around the painting like we like to do at the end.
All right.
I turned it on. Did you unplug me?
I did not.
Oh, there it is. So this was a lot. This was an involved painting. We had a lot happen. We had canvas that didn't want to behave. We had lots of interesting mixes to do. We had lots of fiddly bits. It did rate as a 3 hoot, but as you can see, it was just about the layers and the techniques. It doesn't really matter what brush you use. It doesn't really matter except you. You matter in every lesson. I hope to see you tonight on Facebook. Be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I want to see you at an easel really soon. John's going to take you on a tour around the painting. Do I walk to the right and over?
Yep.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.